Welcome back to another episode of the Filmaholic. This is our On the Rocks episode that we have every Wednesday. It's our unfiltered episode. What's going on over there? It's our unfiltered episode. So we take a topic, discuss it, see where it goes. This week for On the Rocks, I chose to do Spider-Man and the different versions of Spider-Man that we've had on the big screen. So we're going to talk about it, discuss it this week. I did foreshadowed this last happy hour episode when we were talking about Amazing Spider-Man 2. We can talk about Spider-Verse, but the main discussion here I want to talk about is the live action ones. What's your face?
We're absolutely going to talk about Spider-Verse.
Okay. So the first thing I want to discuss is just, there's been 3 live action versions. There's a clear winner here, and that's the Tobey Maguire one.
Well, the clear ranking is in order of Spider-Man.
Yes. Tom Holland is my least favorite by far. Spider-Man. I'm not a fan of that really at all. If we're talking about movies, then I like Far From Home, but
I do.
Just Spider-Man in general, I'm not a fan of Tom Holland's version.
Yeah. Well, if you're talking just the live action versions, if you were talking about that, as far as Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield is my favorite Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire is my favorite Peter Parker.
For me, it's changed several times throughout the years as far as like between those two. But Tobey is my favorite live action Spider-Man and Peter Parker. But by far my favorite Spider-Man is Tobey. I love his suit, just that original live action suit. It's different than the comics a little bit, sure. And they've tried to go more like the artwork with the Amazing Spider-Man 2 and really with Tom Holland's version of making it more like the eyes and stuff, the white eyes, what have you. But I just love the design of the Tobey Maguire suit.
The first one he makes when he fights.
Yeah, that's my favorite. I think you should have wore that whole trilogy. They should have made it handheld too, just really dark and gritty.
That's what Iron Man takes away. It gives back to Tom Holland. Like, if you can't do without suit, this is what you get. This gives him that.
I used to like, as far as Peter Parker, like that side of him, I used to like the Andrew Garfield better for Peter Parker. But now the more I watch him now, it's like I don't even really. I like Andrew Garfield's version still better than Tom Holland, but like those movies are such just forgettable now.
Well, it's just the second one brings it down. I still like the first one.
I do too. I still give the Amazing Spider-Man a 4 out of 5. I think it's really good. But the thing is, that's only one movie, and there's nowhere to go after
it. Down. That's where you go.
Because Amazing Spider-Man 2 is horrendous. It's definitely the worst Spider-Man film made.
So far.
It's a 1 star for me, I think. The only really good things about that movie are Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone.
Yeah. That's it.
They were the only ones who seemed to care in that movie or about that movie. But the Tom Holland one, and that's no offense to him, because I know he loves playing that character and is passionate about it, and that's great for him. But it's just not my Spider-Man.
Not my Spider-Man. #.
And as far as the suit goes, I did like his suit in Civil War when we first saw it. I was like, oh, that's cool. They're going with that style. But the more I look at it now, the more it's just like it looks very animated. Looks very CGI.
I do like his brand new suit.
That
he made in Far From Home.
Yeah.
I do like that one.
I've only seen Far From Home once, so I'm gonna have to rewatch it. When I do my MCU rewatch, because I don't really remember what his suit looked like after he made it in that one.
I do like the one he makes.
I didn't like although I liked the Amazing Spider-Man more than the Tom Holland ones and what have you, but I didn't like his suit in the Amazing Spider-Man. Either one, really. I liked his suit in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 more than the first one, but still, I'm not a big fan of either one of those. The first one didn't really look like Spider-Man to me.
Yeah.
In the Amazing Spider-Man, and then the Amazing Spider-Man 2 looked like you got it from a costume shop, like down the street. I don't know.
Maybe.
Which I know, like, that was a style from a particular comic when he had the bigger eyes. I think in general, the Amazing Spider-Man movies were trying to go off the Ultimate Spider-Man comics and show the Ultimate Spider-Man show. I know that's the design they got Electro for in Amazing Spider-Man 2, as well as Rhino in that film. Both which are horrendous. Which the version of Rhino they go with in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, like the concept of him, it being like a suit and like armor and like all this, that's actually that's a smart way. I probably would go that same way with Rhino. Just Paul Giamatti and that Russian accent was just cringeworthy.
And it wasn't even in the movie. 2 scenes, boom.
2 scenes, dude. Oh, beginning, end.
Bookend it.
They were bringing him back for Sinister 6, though.
That's classic cinema, right there.
Electro. I can't imagine like seeing that and being like, "Yeah, this looks good."
Somebody did. A lot of people. Apparently.
A lot of people. Apparently, Jamie Foxx. Apparently, Mark Webb, Avi Arad, Amy Pascal.
Jamie Foxx didn't care. Look, just give him a check.
He was just really excited about making that song for the movie.
Yeah, he's probably got a bigger check for that too.
Probably. There was so much potential with Amazing Spider-Man, though. I remember when that movie came out, I really liked it a lot when it came out. I don't think I appreciated the Tobey Maguire ones enough back then in, say, 2012. But I liked that one a lot because, I liked that version of Peter Parker.
I think 2012 might be the last time I watched the Tobey Maguire versions.
Really?
I don't have them, so.
Wow. You can watch the first one on Amazon, I believe.
Well, then I gotta find the other 2. So.
Well, yeah. But yeah, I definitely, like I said, Tobey Maguire, best version in my opinion. Andrew Garfield, second best. I feel like so much more could have came from that if those movies had been better. If the second one had been the same level or better than the first one, that could have been a really amazing trilogy. And it just would have been a lot different overall, because if Amazing Spider-Man 2 had worked, we wouldn't have the Tom Holland version.
Yeah.
So the MCU would be different too. Which, another interesting thing is they almost connected the Amazing Spider-Man to the MCU at one point. I think it was the Avengers came out 2012, the same year as the Amazing Spider-Man, and they were working on a deal. They almost put Oscorp from Amazing Spider-Man in the Avengers.
Still don't have Norman.
Which, that would have been cool. I would have liked it. I definitely would have liked to have seen that Andrew Garfield in the MCU as Spider-Man. I think that would have been a lot better than Tom Holland's version. And then that way we would have gotten the true Peter Parker backstory. Not this bullshit brush over.
No MJ.
Right. So, the Amazing Spider-Man didn't have MJ in the first film. I didn't actually have MJ in either of the 2 films. She was supposed to be in the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Shailene Woodley filmed scenes with her as Mary Jane in the film, but they ended up cutting it. Maybe at request of her because the movie was so terrible.
Please, never mind. Here's the money back.
Just take me out of the movie, please. But yeah, that's another thing. Is like that. I think that was great casting. I would have loved to seen her as MJ. I just forgot about that honestly until we were just talking about it. That was even a thing. Yeah, that would have been really cool. So it's like in the Amazing Spider-Man, they had some really good casting. They had some really bad casting. I still can't believe that Dane DeHaan was ever cast as Harry Osborn.
It was big back then, dude.
God, man, he had Place Beyond the Pines, which was good.
He had that,
and then after that, he had Chronicle.
So I say you were trying to push him. Life After Beth. Get out of here.
Oh, I hated the version of Harry Osborn, and I'm a big fan of that character too. And
he were messed up.
You're coming off of James Franco, and that's what you give me.
James Franco.
And then you don't even have Norman Osborn. You don't need him in the first movie. You teased him. You knew he was coming in the second film. Kill him off in one scene.
Some rare sickness.
That made no sense. Like, that's the whole thing we could talk about with that film. Is like he had the sickness that he's been struggling with his whole life. Everything, all these stuff with Peter's parents, like why he had them killed, all of this different stuff came from the fact that he was trying to find this cure. And Harry, who's like 22, maybe. I guess he'd be less. I guess he'd be probably Peter's age, right? Because they hung out as kids. It never says Harry's
closer to that age.
So say he's like 19. Just finds out he has this disease. It runs in his family.
Yeah.
And then instantly goes straight downhill. Like as soon as he finds out.
Yeah, he gets it hardcore. Day he finds out, next day he wakes up green.
Yeah, it's not good for him. I don't know. Like part of that, I guess, like he got worse when he took the I can't remember did he take a formula or something at the end?
Yeah, but it was already going rough.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, it's like as soon as somebody spoke of it, he turned. It was bad for him, and then he instantly knew how to ride that glider and everything at the end.
Why not?
And they were trying to do something different. I guess they were like, we don't want to put him in a suit again because people had some backlash from like the first Spider-Man. Even though that worked, I think we want to like change it up, but like we're not going to make him actually look like the comic book version. We're just going to make him have look like a crackhead.
Yeah. Oh, his teeth were all messed up. His hair's done nothing for that.
Just awful. But the Tobey one, like, first two films to me are both 5-star. I love both of those movies. The third one, it's not a good movie by any means, but I can enjoy it watching it now more so than I did then because it is the third film, and these other two movies I do love. Third film, it still continues and concludes that storyline. So, and I don't think it's like that by any means the worst film ever made, the worst comic book film ever made.
It's bad though.
There's certainly bad moments in it. Everything with the emo Peter Parker is
awful.
Very questionable, and it goes to the studio forcing Venom into that movie when Sam Raimi didn't want him to be any part of Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, well, you already mentioned Eddie in the earlier Spider-Man movies.
Eddie Brock?
They didn't say Brock, but it's Eddie working for the Bugle.
You sure?
Yeah, there's a scene where they're talking about getting a picture of Spider-Man, and Jonah James like, we can't, got to get a picture of that. We can't, Eddie's been trying for weeks.
I guess it's a line I missed, but Yeah. Well, first of all, he didn't want him in the movie. You forced him in because to sell toys, which, you see how that worked out with Batman in the 90s. So obviously it's going to work out here. So they do that. And I got a new follow on Letterboxd.
Nice.
You force him in, and you cast Topher Grace as Eddie Brock, which is a bad casting decision.
I just got a notification on Letterboxd. Somebody liked my review of Barely Lethal.
Yeah, that's what like mine too.
This guy must have just watched it. They gave it a 1.5, so I don't know why they like my review.
Yeah, I was about to say we gave it very different reviews.
Oh, they're on A24 Marathon as well. Oh, they gave Slow West a 4.5. I don't mean to change the subject, but just
it's an unfiltered episode. So.
Oh, hold on. Let me look at their list real quick to see what they got a ranking. A24 ranking. All right. God, they got most violent year at number 2.
It's a solid film, dude. You're missing out.
I'm not missing. I've watched it twice. Revenge of the Green Dragons and Glimpse into the Mind is both 1 stars. Spring Break is 1.5. They didn't get it. They didn't get it, dude.
Over their head. Nope.
Did not get it. Ginger and Rose is 3.5, so this must be a British person. Enemy's 3.5. I got a 4. While We're Young's 4, so I don't. Nope, not for me.
It's a 3.5.
They're only 22 movies in, but well, I guess they got 22 movies on here. They got 8th Grade, but they haven't rated it, so they'll get to that. Ex Machina is their favorite at 4.5 stars. Interesting. I think I might follow this person to keep up with their opinions.
I might. We'll see.
They gave New Moon a 1 star. Wait till they get to Eclipse.
Oh, man. Her's one of their favorite movies.
You haven't seen that but 1 time, so you need to watch it again.
But yeah, so Spider-Verse. That's not live action, but Peter B. Parker from Spider-Verse is actually my favorite version of Spider-Man and Peter Parker in general.
Yeah.
But it's not live action. What was that?
My favorite Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, not my favorite, but it's my 3rd favorite Spider-Man movie.
So good, dude.
But favorite Spider-Man character.
So
to me, it's Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Verse.
Well, you got that wrong already. Spider-Man 2 is favorite Spider-Man.
I didn't say what was better. I said what I like.
I guess. Which one's better?
The screenplay for Spider-Man 2 is better.
Go ahead and say it, man. Just get it out.
I said the screenplay is better.
Spider-Man 2 is better. Get it out.
If you're basing it off screenplay and action sequences, then Spider-Man 2.
I think Spider-Verse is better than all 3.
No. It might be better than the Spider-Man. Better, but not my personal favorite.
And Spider-Man 2.
But I don't think it's better than Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2.
Man.
No.
You are insane, sir. It's so good.
I'm sorry.
It was. I don't know. I didn't think I was gonna like it that much when I saw the trailers.
You haven't even seen the Tobey Maguire movie since 2012, so you probably haven't seen Amazing Spider-Man since then either.
No, I didn't rewatch the second one. I rewatched Amazing Spider-Man though because I have it. I know I've seen that at least 2 or 3 times.
That was one of the ones that I used to watch a lot in high school, my senior year probably. That was one of the frequent movies I would turn on.
When did Blockbuster close down? in Asheboro?
I don't know. Probably like 2009.
No, because that was the movie I got from there.
I don't know. I never went to. Honestly, I don't. I only ever went to a Blockbuster once, and that's when we were at the beach, and I guess it was raining or something. We ended up going to this Blockbuster.
I never, except that time when they closed because they're having a sale, and I got that movie.
Because Randleman always had Movie Gallery. Well, actually, when I was a kid,
Family Video.
No, I don't think so. That's the one in Archdale, right? High Point and all those. When I was a kid, there were two in Randleman, two video stores. I don't remember their name. One of them could have been Family Video, but one was the one we went to the most. It was over near Food Lion, where Sage Snow, that steakhouse was. Spurs. It was beside Spurs. There was one there we went to, and then there was one over where Lowe's Food was, besides Sopranos. But that one closed down first, the one at Lowe's Food. I remember when it was closing down.
Oh, Spurs was in Asheboro.
That's where Capadres is now. There might have been another Spurs. I don't know.
What am I thinking of? No, was it Ryan's?
Ryan's was, on the hill. That was the buffet place.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was thinking of. Never mind.
McDonald's. Yeah. But we used to go there when that's the earliest video stores I can remember, is going there. And then I remember them kind of going away, and then Movie Gallery came. And then that's where all we went, like, mostly growing up after that. That probably from, like, 2000 to whenever they went out of business.
I never went to any of them.
Man, what'd your family do?
That's a nice wall there.
We have this one film. Just rewatch it again.
Just rewatch the VHS copies you got.
The 3 copies. Yeah, I loved going to Movie Gallery.
I wish I
any
had
of the video stores.
Kid, because I would love to know. Times I watch some of those movies, just man, here we go.
Oh man, Monkey Bone and the Animal, and this is another episode of On the Rocks we're gonna do at some point, like favorite movies as a kid. But I just remember like The Animal, that Rob Schneider movie. I used to like it so much.
You were talking about Monkey.
Both of them.
No, I didn't like The Animal.
I like both of them.
I like Deuce Bigalow.
I never saw it.
Deuce Bigalow, male gigolo.
Monkey Ball, I know I watched that more, but I don't remember like actually like renting it. I remember watching it a lot. But I remember having The Animal, and we were supposed to take it back, and I just would I remember I like went and hid it under the bed. So I don't know where it's at. We can't return it today.
Oh man, love watching Monkey Ball.
Yeah, that's one where I'm like, I don't really want to rewatch it.
I'll see what it's got on Letterboxd right now.
It's probably gonna taint my memory of the movie.
I can't imagine it having like a 2.8 maybe.
I think you're gonna be optimistic.
2.2.
Yeah, okay. It's gonna be a little bit lower. Yeah, all of those bars going towards the other side.
Henry Selick directed it, who did Nightmare Before Christmas and James and the Giant Peach. I love James and the Giant Peach. That's another one I loved as a kid. Everyone tries to give the credit to Tim Burton. No, bro.
I did not like that film.
James and the Giant Peach?
No, I only watched it once, and
it's on Disney Plus. You need to give it a rewatch.
Maybe that was one that was like I don't know. I didn't like A Nightmare Before Christmas either.
I don't care for that, but James and the Giant Peach I loved.
I think part of it's the animation. It's not for me. I don't.
Maybe. I think James and the Giant Peach is the better movie, but everybody who hasn't grown up watches Nightmare on Elm Before Christmas still. I get so tired of it. The only good thing about that movie is that it's very, very short.
Did you watch any of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies in theaters? Damn, sorry.
What would you do? I started thinking about it when we were talking about it the other day, talking about The Longest Yard. You're like, oh, it's the first movie you remember? Like, that, Max Keeble's Big Move, and Flubber. Like, I can't remember going to see anything else.
Man, we're gonna talk about that on another episode. So you better be thinking hard. Going back, you need to go back to the '90s or whatever.
Like, I thought about I know my parents. They said my grandma she took us to see the kids movies and stuff at Cinemark, like when they had dollar days. I don't know what movie she took us to see. There's no way she's gonna remember.
But that theater didn't open until 2003.
Yeah, I know.
That the first time you went to the theaters?
No, I saw Flubber in theaters. Max Keeble's Big Move, like 2001. But I don't remember. I think it was 2000. Yeah, that was 2001. We saw that in theater. But I can't think of any of these movies I saw in theaters. Told you we didn't go.
I saw all the Tobey movies in theater. The first Spider-Man was the first comic book movie I saw in theaters. In 2002. Blade.
It should have been.
I didn't watch Blade until middle school with my dad that's when we were still going to movie gallery and renting movies, and we watched the Blade trilogy.
Blade 2 is better. So
I don't remember much of them. I don't think I'll revisit them either.
You watched the first two.
But I remember X-Men coming out and being kind of interested in it, but it was 2000. I was on 5. They weren't taking me to see that because they just weren't. I didn't actually see a lot of movies in that year, 2000.
I watched X-Men. Todd bought it when it came out, and I watched it. But we didn't go to theaters to see it.
I think the first X-Men movie I saw in theaters was Last Stand. But I saw...
First Class. Maybe. I don't even know if I went to see that in theaters, to be honest. I had to look at my tickets.
I saw Spider-Man. That was the first comic book film that I saw in theaters. And then I saw Daredevil. That was the next one.
Saw that when it came out.
And I think Hulk after that.
I didn't watch Hulk in theaters.
That was my first email address. Hulk9 2004 yahoo.com.
I can't even remember what mine was.
I wonder if it's still a functioning email.
Probably. I'd like to log into my MySpace.
That is our episode of On the Rocks, guys. We will be back next week with an all-new episode. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Comment below maybe what you would like to see us talk about in the next episode. Thanks for checking in.